Hello vinyl community, it is Vinyl Tag 2026 time. But before I get started, I just want to say a big thank you to all my subscribers, all of you who like my videos, and particularly to the people who leave comments. I feel like I'm getting to know some of you and your musical tastes through the comments you leave. They are really appreciated. Keep them coming, and hopefully there'll be more of you next year. If you don't already like and subscribe, do it. You got nothing to lose, and it encourages me to make more videos, so it's a win-win really. This year's Vinyl Tag has been created by David Atkinson. I'll leave a link to his very good channel below. There are 20 questions, although there's more than 20 records to show, because some of them involve showing multiple records, which has meant it's taken quite a while for me to pull these off the shelf, and it'll take me even longer to put them back, so thanks for that, David. Now there's some great questions here. Hopefully you'll see some records here you enjoy, and yeah, well, let's get started. 20 questions. First question was to show my best purchase of 2025, and already I'm going off piste a little bit here because I think I showed my favourite or best purchase in my last video. So what I'm going to do is show my best new release that I bought in 2025. Now this is something that I'd mentioned in a previous Vinyl Tag 2 or 3 years ago, which was a record or a piece of music which wasn't available on vinyl at the time, and it was my biggest wish that this would come out on vinyl, and it did this year. So Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Always loved this, the VHS, the DVD, whatever way I used to watch it. Always wanted it on vinyl. Finally got it. Stephen Wilson's been involved in creating a new mix for this, and probably the only reason it's not my favourite purchase full stop for 2025 is because elements of the mix don't quite sit right with me. I wanted it to be exactly how I remembered it from all those hours sat watching it on DVD, and it's not quite. It's great, glad to have it, and most certainly my best new purchase of the year. So there you go, Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Question number 2 is my favourite live musical experience of 2025. Well, I'm amazed watching some of these Vinyl Tag videos how few of you go out and see live music. Quite shocking really. People who are music fans are not out there catching live music as a regular thing. I mean, people have different reasons for that, I guess. It takes a bit of effort sometimes, but it's something I've always done. I went to about 20 gigs last year, including a festival, so probably saw dozens and dozens of bands. But perhaps the highlight for me, and there were many highlights, I saw Iggy Pop. He was amazing. I saw Uriah Heep. They were superb for a band that's been knocking around for 50 plus years. I also saw Saxon. This is their live album from 82, I think. They've been around forever as well. Two things that make this band great. They have a fantastic back catalogue of songs, and live they played everything you'd want to hear. It wasn't like it was a greatest hits set, because they haven't had that many hits, but as a long time fan, they played everything I wanted to hear. In the set list on there, I think they played every track on there, plus a dozen more. And Biff Byford's voice is as good today as it was when I first saw them in 1983. So Saxon at the Hammersmith Apollo, always think of it as the Hammersmith Odeon, can't get out of that habit. Saw them with my wife, and we were both completely blown away. Really great night. Question number 3 is, in 10 years, is my collection going to be bigger, smaller, or about the same? Okay, not a simple answer. It's probably going to be bigger because I can't stop buying records. I would like it to be smaller because I've run out of space. If it was the same, it's just about manageable, but I'm just going to have to get on with clearing out the dead wood in the collection, which I do, but it's finding a good outlet to sell them. I don't want to be getting pennies for stuff that I know is worth more just to get rid of it quickly. So it's more about management of the collection than anything. but I can see it being smaller. It's going to have to be smaller. Yeah, definitely going to rationalise it a bit. Okay, question number 4. I move into a new home. I play one record at 11 to announce my arrival. What is it? I'm lucky where I live, even though it's a terraced house, a Victorian terraced house, has thick walls. I've never had a complaint about the noise, and I crank it up here. So anywhere I move to would have to have similar kind of soundproofing, I guess, especially if I was going to play this album. Love this record, and I particularly like the opening track, Cochise, which is just so powerful, so aggressive, so loud and heavy, and that would definitely be a good introduction to who the neighbours have got moving in next door. Question number 6 is my top 3. No. Question number 5, I've missed one there. Okay, my favourite male and female singers. 1 LP for each, and why them? These aren't necessarily my favourite singers, because I really find it difficult to pin it down to one favourite singer at any one time, but these are 2 singers that I love dearly, and they could well be my favourites. Okay, Ian Gillan of Deep Purple fame. This is an amazing album. It was one of my first introductions to Deep Purple. I used to try to sing along to Child in Time as a kid and failed miserably, and I'm never quite sure how Ian Gillan hit those high notes, but he did. Something both of my choices have in common is that they seem to be fairly derided online these days for the fact their voices aren't what they used to be. I mean, these people are knocking on. Give them a break. You wouldn't expect a professional footballer to still be as good when he's in his 60s or 70s. So, you know, give these singers a break. Ian Gillan's adapted his voice. I've got recent Deep Purple albums and they're still really good. He's not hitting those high notes, but hey, we all age. But in his prime, nobody could touch Ian Gillan. And the same could be said of Ann Wilson of Heart. And this Dog and Butterfly album is fantastic, and you should check out the track Mistral Wind. There's a track listing, and you all know Ann Wilson. What a fantastic talent. She's got it in neck over years for her appearance, her weight, more recently the fact that her voice isn't what it was, but again, she's getting old, but in her prime, no one could touch her. Fantastically talented woman. Okay, question number 6. My top 3 soul or dance records. It's not a genre I collect particularly, but I do have a fair amount of stuff that fits into this category. I was going to show something that was more sort of psychedelic trance, because I used to go to a lot of kind of warehouse raves in the 90s, but that wasn't really song based, so I thought I'd stick to stuff that's recognisable as songs. So I've got Curtis Mayfield, Superfly. Always loved Curtis Mayfield. I particularly remember early on when I was dating my now wife, we took a trip up to Glasgow and I bought a pair of diesel jeans, and I remember trying them on the fitting room and they fit so well, and Curtis Mayfield was playing over the shop tannoy, and I came out of the changing room dancing. Combination of great music and being really pleased with my new jeans. So there you go, Curtis Mayfield. Tower of Power and Back to Oakland. Great band, saw them live about 25 years ago. Very funky, lots of horns, lots of guys in the band. Well worth checking out if you don't know them. And then once, kind of a bit more of a party album I suppose, And the Beat Goes On. 34 dance hits of the 70s. You've got everything you'd want on here. If you're somebody who doesn't collect disco and soul and stuff, an album like this is a great way of filling big gaps in your collection. I mean, you've got everything from the cheesy sort of Village People, YMCA here, to Chic, Rose Royce, Gloria Gaynor, Earth, Wind and Fire, Wild Cherry, the Jacksons. It's got it all. Double album. Can't do any better than that. Okay, question number 7. A track I hate from an LP I love. This is now my like very much. I'm not sure I'd say I love it, but I do like it very much. And I'll show you them. It's Haystacks Balboa, my kind of tatty sleeved copy, which actually plays really, really well. The disc is fantastic. And the second track on the first side, The Children of Heaven. It's not even that I hate the track, I just hate one aspect of it, which just makes me kind of cringe every time I hear it. And it's this kind of maniacal laughter, which just repeats over and over throughout the song. And it just gets on my tits big time. So, really good album. Great early 70s hard rock. Cannot go wrong with this, apart from if, like me, you have a sensitivity to crazy, unhinged laughter. So, yeah, check it out, see what you think. Question number 8. This is one I had to empty the shelves for. Pick just one LP from each of the last 6 decades. I can't remember from the original question whether this was a favourite LP from those decades, in which case I would never get around to doing this vinyl tag because it's too hard to choose. So I've just picked ones I think kind of representation of the decades they appeared in. And I've started obviously with 1960s and Jesus Christ, the Satanic Majesties on her, let's get it right, Their Satanic Majesty's Request by the Rolling Stones. An original copy of the lenticular cover. Love this album. Great Stones album. It took a long time for it to get the respect it deserved, and that in part is because it was pretty much out of character for them. I think it sums up the 60s because the Beatles owned the 60s as far as I'm concerned, and when a band as big as the Stones feels like it has to ape the Beatles, you know what a huge influence the Beatles have been. Yeah, everything from the clothing they're wearing, the kind of pepperesque sort of sleeve, and the sort of psychedelic elements on here. Brilliant record, love it. 1970s. For me, the 70s was all about growing up as a kid and watching The Sweet, On Top of the Pops, and all the other great glam bands around. This is The Sweet when they were trying to go their own way and release heavier material, and this is a really good hard rock album. There's a track listing there. I mean, check out Set Me Free, Sweet FA, AC/DC. Great record, and a much misunderstood band, I should say. The 80s was all about production, and nobody, unless you're talking Trevor Horn, nobody represented 80s production quite like Mutt Lange. And what he did with Def Leppard, turn him from a kind of a run-of-the-mill hard rock band, or albeit a very good one, into this slick hits machine. Hysteria is not my favourite Def Leppard album. It's kind of the last one I can really listen to. There are tracks on here I do love. Love Bites, I think it's a fantastic ballad. But where would Strippers be without Pour Some Sugar on Me? Yeah, totally representative of the 80s. They dominated MTV. You couldn't turn on MTV without seeing one of their videos for a long time. 1990s, funny old decade, the 90s. There's some great music, but it seemed to be a case of recycling a lot of music and consigning some music that's been out in the previous decade to the dustbin. I'm thinking of hair metal in particular. And then you get someone like David Bowie, who he's always been a chameleon. I think perhaps on this he wasn't so much a chameleon as a bit of a thief. He was desperate to be relevant. This isn't a bad album by any stretch of the imagination, but he does go off on some kind of jungle type experimentation on this album, and he does it pretty well. And fair play to somebody to work that hard to stay relevant, not just keep churning out the same material. So good album. This is an original 1996 copy, so I'm very glad to have it. Not my favourite Bowie album, but yeah, very, very much of the 90s. The 2000s, and I'll try and hurry this along, so it's going to be a long video otherwise. Mastodon's Crack the Sky. Pretty much, for me, reinvigorated metal music in the 2000s. And this, for me, is their best album as well. Big influence of Randy Rhoads' guitar playing on here. powerful songs, progressive metal, I guess you'd call it. Brilliant, brilliant record. And Brett Hines died in 2025, so it seems appropriate to show that record as well. And 2010s, I'm going with Gong and The Universe Also Collapses. Really great record. It shows that bands can survive, prosper and produce brilliant music even after their leader dies. So David Allen had died. I can't remember when he died now. It's a few years ago. But this album, which came out in I can't read that in this light. You'll have to look it up, or maybe I'll stick it on the screen. 2019. Brilliant record. Absolutely fantastic. And the band that David Allen put together before he died have carried on playing and are doing it brilliantly. I saw them live a few years ago and they're superb as well. Okay, next up we have spend a day alone with one artist. Who and doing what? I think David suggested walking up a mountain path, or I don't know, various options. I would leave it up to my chosen musical figure, who would be Noddy Holder, there in the trademarked mirrored top hat. What would we do? I'd just chat to the man. He's old now. I don't suppose he'd want to walk up, go trekking through a forest or anything. But he's got some great stories. I read his autobiography years ago, which is probably due an update actually, because it really was 25, 30 years ago, I think I read it. And he told some amazing stories. One that sticks out was a particularly unpleasant one about, I think, a German promoter paying him a little bit extra if he would strip off and squat over a glass-topped coffee table while this guy lay underneath and watched Noddy Holder take a crap. Sorry if that's a bit brutal, a bit graphic, but it's a very funny story. And if he's got ones like that he hasn't told, I'd love to hear those stories. What question would I ask him? I would ask him whether it bothers him that they are always slayed, are always going to be remembered for Merry Christmas Everybody, even though I read that they make somewhere between £500,000 and £1 million a year in royalties just on that one track, which isn't too shabby. But is there another track you'd like to be remembered for? I would put How Does It Feel in the ring, because I think it's one of the greatest pop songs ever written. If you don't know it, listen to it. It's a beautiful song. It's a masterpiece. Amazing stuff. Question number 11 is an LP that contains a track that always brings a tear to my eye, or am I a heartless bastard? Well, I'm a bastard, but I'm not heartless. This is a track that genuinely I cannot hear it without crying. It's on Stephen Wilson's To the Bone album. It's the track Pariah. He has a woman on here singing with him called Ninette Tayeb, and she's appeared live with him a number of times. I've seen her live and she's got an amazing voice. And there is something about that track that every time I hear it, I get goosebumps, shivers down the spine, my eyes well up. It's like this Pavlovian response. I cannot help it. It doesn't matter whether it's live. I can watch the video 20 times in a row and it happens. I can listen to it on record. That song just is a trigger for me. Brilliant, brilliant song by a great artist. Question number 12. 3 LPs from artists I've tried to love but don't. This is a tough one. What I've done, I've pulled out 3 records by artists that, 2 of them at least, I really, really like. And some of their material I love. But I don't love the whole of the back catalogue. I'll start with one that I've always struggled to get into. Mott the Hoople. I know a lot of people love Mott the Hoople. Never liked much of the kids. You see them on Top of the Pops, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I've probably had half a dozen of their albums over the years. I was going to pull out one of the ones I particularly dislike, but I think it's in a box ready to offload at a boot fair or something. So this is the one that's remaining in my collection now. I assume it's there because last time I played it, I thought, yeah, it's got some redeeming features. I don't know what it is. It might be Ian Hunter's voice, although I've got an Ian Hunter solo album that I quite like. So I don't know. I've tried to like them. I've bought enough of their material to know what they're about, but just don't do it for me. Next up, and this is a bit shocking for me, I saw this guy live last year, so I'm a fan. I love parts of his musical career. It's Todd Rundgren. I love the Nas. I love Utopia. I think Utopia are a fantastic band. His solo material, some of it I really, really like, but it tends to be tracks rather than whole albums. That's true of this album. It's true of Something Anything. Just something about Todd Rundgren. He just doesn't, I just don't think he edits himself very well. None of his albums, his solo albums to me, work altogether as albums. And I want to love this artist. And like I say, certain aspects of his material I do love. But I'm going to keep trying. And the last one, and again, this is another artist, some of their records I adore. Jethro Tull. And this isn't one of the ones I adore. This is one of the ones I think, yeah, I'm not sure what the fuss is about. Again, I think it's Ian Anderson. Something about him. Obviously his voice. I don't know, he just seems like a spiky personality, but then that shouldn't put me off from music. There's people worse personalities whose music I love. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they were so big in the States. It seems odd that they appealed in the States because they are so uniquely kind of British, or this idea of what Britain may have been at one time. I don't get it. I love Songs from the Wood. Brilliant album. I love Stand Up. Adore that album. A lot of their material. And if you saw what I've got on the shelves, I've got a stack of, as wide as my head. I've got a stack of Jethro Tull albums as wide as my head. And I stick them on every so often, give them a listen, and think, yeah, I like them, but I don't know why people get that excited about them. So there you go. There's my three. Question number 13. An LP from an artist whose character disappoints. Can you separate the artist from the art? Yes, I can. I own a Gary Glitter album. He's a complete scumbag, but hey, part of my youth, along with Slade and Sweet and whoever. But this is the guy I'm going for. It's Ray Gillen, the singer in Badlands. Voice of a generation. No, that's an exaggeration, not of a generation, but it's the kind of voice that only crops up once in a generation. He's an amazing rock singer, or was. He died of AIDS, and unfortunately, knowing that he had AIDS didn't stop him going out and sleeping with a whole bunch of women who, some of whom I think probably contracted it themselves. So that is a character flaw, to say the least. Would it stop me listening to this record? Oh God, no! It's so good. You got Jakey Lee on guitar, who I loved his playing when he was with Ozzy Osbourne, and he's an absolute monster on this record. So yeah, I can separate it. Doesn't mean I'm condoning it, but not good behaviour. Okay, I sell all my vinyl and my turntable, but I keep one LP as a keepsake. It's this one. The first Judas Priest album I ever bought. They weren't the first band I got heavily into. That would have been the Electric Light Orchestra, who I still love. But this set me on a path for years. And this is the original copy I bought. It's known as Hellbent for Leather in the States. I found the back cover photo to be very exciting as a 13-year-old boy. Even though it's obviously so badly posed. I love the album artwork, but also I met my wife at a Judas Priest gig. Both big fans of this album and of the band generally. I couldn't let this go. Great band, great record. Okay, question 15. My VC highlight of 2025 and link to it. it's not for me to say what my highlights are in terms of my own videos. Some I think perhaps should have been more popular than they were. Others I'm surprised how popular they were. I'll put a random link to something below. I haven't met up with anyone from the VC apart from Jake from the Vinyl Hunters, who I see every month because he sells at a record fair I go to. But and he's a nice guy. Okay, favourite musical biopic. Just a second. Biopics I'm not a massive fan of. I watch them and there are always massive holes in the plot. They're factually inaccurate. And the fact that, on the whole, they're aimed at the fans of the bands or artists they portray, you think they'd at least try and get the facts straight, because fans are always going to pick up on it. The Dirt, the Motley Crue film, was entertaining, but again, they couldn't show half the stuff that was in the book, so what's the point? Much better off reading the book. So what I've done, I've gone with a film about a fictitious band played by a real band, kind of showing some of the incidents that they went through on their own way to the top, if you're following. It's Slade in Flame. This is the kind of CD, DVD package that came out a few years ago. It's a great rock movie. Not strictly a biopic, but it probably tells you more about the reality of the music industry and what their rise to the top was like than any biopic ever would. Okay, we're getting there. Question 17. 3 reasons why jazz matters and show a favourite LP. Okay, I'm going to have to look at my notes here. Okay, first off, so many people don't like jazz that if you have guests over who are outstaying their welcome, stick on a jazz album. Guaranteed to get them out. Okay, that's one. Number 2, it gives middle-aged men who collect records something else to buy once they've bought all the classic rock albums. That's 2. Number 3, because, and this is a more serious one, because the exchange of ideas between jazz and rock that happened in the late 60s and 70s has been a mutual benefit. Rock improved because of it. Rock musicians upped their game. Jazz improved because it's, for a rock fan, it became much more listenable, much more relatable, when I could hear noisy guitars in jazz music, and it just became a fuller, more involved music for me, and wasn't looking backwards all the time. I think jazz had a habit of looking backwards. I know a jazz purist would say no, it's always developing, but to me it was always a bit kind of smoky basement, somebody parping away on a sax, and the sort of interaction with rock musicians changed that. This album kind of sums it up a bit. I was going to show Bitches Brew, but I thought everyone else would. I was going to show Spectrum by Billy Cobham, but a bunch of people have shown that. So the Tony Williams Lifetime. Tony Williams, great drummer. And on this album, you have got John McLaughlin on guitar and Jack Bruce on bass. So there you go. Meeting of two worlds, jazz and rock. Brilliant album. And noisy as hell. Okay, question 18. You're an innocent man on death row. You're given one last musical request. What do you ask for? Well, because I took so long getting this video out, Norman Maslow stole my idea. I'd been thinking about Day in the Life by the Beatles because it's got the locked groove at the end. I thought, yeah, that's basically a reprieve. Just keeps on going on and on. But I thought, being on death row forever doesn't sound terribly appealing either. I'd sooner go out, drift away. Lethal Injection would be good, I guess, to a piece of music I love. I love the Electric Light Orchestra, and I particularly love this album, and I particularly love the final track on this album, Shangri-La, which it's just such a beautiful drifting, it's oh my god, words cannot describe how good that track is. I love it. It is the track that if you're being injected with a lethal substance, you'd want to drift off to. I mean, the lyrics are suitable as well. You have to adapt them slightly, but sitting here waiting for someone calling at my door, too bad, I'm getting out of love. Okay, I'm getting out of life, perhaps, rather than love, but Brilliant song, love it. And there's these kind of these haunting kind of choral vocals at the end, and the pace is just so, oh, just listen to it. I can't do it justice. So good. Okay, final question. No, not final question. Question 19. Sell your favourite artist to a new listener. Show one essential LP and explain why they should make time for it. Not necessarily my favourite artist, but they are definitely up there. UFO and their album Obsession. This is probably my favourite UFO album, although that changes fairly regularly, but I always come back to this one. It's got everything you want on here. It's got the kind of stadium rockers. It's got introspective, beautiful, unexpected musical passages, like on Arbory Hill, which basically acoustic guitar and flute, and it is beautiful. And this is UFO at their most experimental, their most grown up. You got tracks like Only You Can Rock Me, which is just what it says. It's just a rabble-rousing kind of call to arms kind of thing. But a track like Born to Lose, Michael Schenker's guitar playing on that is sort of so good, so damn good. Beautiful album by a brilliant band. They should have been massive. I think it was record company problems. It was the band being high and drunk most of the time. All these things contributed to them not being as big as Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin or whoever. And they should have been. They had the songs, they had the look, they had everything. They were brilliant. In fact, there's a track on here, I Ain't No Baby, which Phil Mogg, the singer's explained, was actually about the Babies, John Waite's band, the Babies, who, when they signed to Chrysalis, same label that UFO were on, UFO felt that all of the record company's promotion and budget was going on the Babies and not on UFO. And that song's UFO's complaint about the fact they've been neglected by the record company. Brilliant album. Okay, final question. A VC meetup. Invite 3 people. Who would I most like to meet? I can't say. Can't pick favourites. I'm happy to meet anyone who's not a complete dick. Probably would want Mazzy there because he makes the best cocktails. But apart from that, more the merrier. Come along. Okay, I'm at 32 minutes or so now. That is more than long enough, but that's David Atkinson's fault for too many questions. I'll see you again soon. Happy New Year again. Like, subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.